सालों के बाद कुछ तो ऐसी चीजें हैं जो हम संजय लीला बंसाली से एक्सपेक्ट ही करने लगे हैं. Those extravagant sets, just the set design, the way the camera moves, all of that we see coming. But is there that kind of danger of style kind of overwhelming substance? Hi, I'm Pratiksha Mishra and you're listening to my review of Heeramandi, the Diamond Bazaar. संजय लीला बंसाली शो हीरामंडी is exactly what you would expect it to be. अब संजय लीला बंसाली है, you expect those extravagant sets और वो है, आप expect करते हो this kind of color that's just bursting from every frame, सब कुछ है. And उसके साथ साथ this original story by Moin Beg is actually pretty interesting because of how it slowly changes as the episodes progress. Bhansali has often kind of explored the lives of sex workers, just sex work in general as a profession, and has a very deep understanding of human psyche, which goes a very far way in kind of dealing with these subjects with empathy, जो अक्सर सिनेमा में होता नहीं है. बहुत characters हैं हीरामंडी के universe में, and all of these characters are brilliantly casted, और हर character का अलग-अलग internal conflict है. We know how Bhansali views women. There is again that kind of kindness and that understanding, which is happening in Heeramandi also. In Gangubai Kathiawadi, for instance, I had a problem कि कुछ scenes थे वो ऐसा लगता था कि we could have done without the shock value, like we could have felt those emotions regardless. That is an error that is kind of fixed with Heeramandi. बहुत जगह I don't think ऐसा होता है कि a lot of it is relying on shock value. One complaint that I do have with Heeramandi is कि जो emotions हैं शो के वो ज़्यादातर translate नहीं हो पाते हैं off screen, especially in the first few episodes. बहुत जगह ऐसा होता है कि the characters are dealing with abject grief, और जब आप ये देख रहे हो, you're looking at the scene, you're looking at the circumstances, you understand the character, so you feel empathy. You know that this is something that is very sad or just very enraging, but वो properly emotion translate पूरी तरह से नहीं हो पाता है. जो सवाल मैंने पहले पूछा था, the style over substance bit, that does happen कहीं-कहीं पे. You're seeing the Bhansali trademark style. It's all beautiful and stunning and gorgeous and just extravagant, but the substance seems to be missing बहुत जगह. But यहाँ पे the scene stealers for me, especially when it comes to the substance that is there, are Manisha, Koirala and Sonakshi Sinha. They play two characters who are at loggerheads with each other. They're kind of the main two who are fighting with each other for control over something. Manisha Koirala plays Malika Jan, जो basically पूरे हीरामंडी की मतलब queen है. She is the ruler of that place. Nothing happens there without her permission or her finding out. जैसे शोले में होता है ना, वो जो जेलर था उसके जानने के बिना कोई परिंदा भी पंख नहीं मार सकता है. Of course, he was fully useless. She is not. Very cunning, very conniving, always at the top of her game. कोई भी कुछ भी करता है, forgiveness is just not in her dictionary. But at no point does it feel like she is given the shorter end of the stick when it comes to characterization. It's not like Malika Jan is like a good person. It's not like she's an angel. She's done a lot of horrible things, but at no point is the show kind of telling you that this is how you should feel about this character. Even this role, even this character gets a lot of empathy from the viewer, all while not whitewashing her actions. Any redemption that happens or any decision that she makes, everything kind of feels like it's been teased in the show already. It doesn't feel out of character for her. It just feels like a choice that she is making. That agency that Sanjay Leela Bhansali and the writers have given to this character is truly very beautiful to see. इनकी जो मेन राइवल है इस फरीदा, played by Sonakshi Sinha, honestly I think in one of her best acts ever. She is mesmerizing to watch on screen. The stage presence, the screen presence, everything is absolutely perfect. जो एक गाना है which is fully picturized on Sonakshi Sinha's character is genuinely one of my favorite tracks from the film, mostly because of how well it has been performed. It was very much like Darling from Saath Khoon Maaf when you think about it kind of visually and thematically, and I love that song. I also like that none of the music is wasted in this film. ऐसा नहीं कि गाना is just there for Gana's sake like Bollywood tends to do a lot. Every song is telling you something about the character, is telling you something about where the show is going to go. For instance, the Azadi Wala Gana is absolutely fantastic. When we first hear the song, if I'm remembering right, we're talking about the Azadi of the Tawaifs. They're talking about how they want freedom, and that is something that they're trying to fight for. And I really like the way the language of revolution seeps into this show. The language of revolution slowly starts seeping into every episode, kind of increasing in size as you keep watching the show. Another thing that you can expect from Bhansali is that love is always a very daunting task to take on. Love always wins, unless you're in a Bhansali production, then it might get a little dicey. When we see Devdas, for instance, we see that love or the fulfillment of love was a very important subject here, even in Gangubai Kathiawadi, and that's true for Heeramandi as well. And while you're expecting it to happen, that sure, love continues to fail, you still have hope because of the way it's captured, because of how beautifully the love stories have been written. That's where we see Taha Shah as Tajdar, who plays a very important love interest. I genuinely like the way this show is viewing its men as well. It kind of views just the experience of womanhood and just how patriarchy affects everyone very well. But even then, there is no whitewashing. If there's no whitewashing for Malika Jan, there's no whitewashing for anyone. We get to see how the rich are weaponizing their wealth. We get to see how men are weaponizing their privilege. All of this happens. Especially Tajdar's character is in a kind of a tragic one because unko chunna hai love or country ke beech mein, and he is loved by a woman who is constantly choosing him. Another actor who absolutely blew me away with her performance is Sharmeen Sehgal Mehta as Alam. Unka jo character hai is very old Bollywood. She's a shaira. She wants to become a poet. She wants to run away from the life that has been written for her, and all this while kind of trying to manage her friendships and love and everything. Genuinely, this performance was so good. Probably one of my favorites in Heeramandi. But that being said, each performance in Heeramandi is so good that it's very tough to actually pick a favorite. For example, there's Aditi Rao Hydari, who's playing her character as Bibo Jan. Again, fantastically well. वो एक फनकारा है, as the world of Heeramandi would say. But there is also another part of her life that she's kept hidden for her own personal reasons. This double life, I think Aditi Rao Hydari truly conveys very well on screen. जब किसी फिल्म की या किसी शो की बात आती है, one of my favorite things to see is जब कोई एक्टर स्क्रीन पे है, but you know that that actor has completely surrendered themselves to the character, that they're not just wearing this character, they have become that character. And I think that is a kind of surrendering that all the actors in this show have definitely done. For instance, you see Richa Chadha as Lajju, who's essentially playing like a Devdas meets Meena Kumari. Just the tragedy of her character and any anger of her character, any passion of that character is so starkly visible on screen. And this is genuinely what happens when directors and actors are fully working together to realize a character. Farida Jalal ko dekh ke screen mein itne time baad bahut acha laga. I will always remember her as the Dadi from Shararat, but I've always enjoyed the roles that she plays. She brings this kind of warmth and just the charm to every role. Another actor that we're seeing after a bit of time is Fardeen Khan, who's making essentially, I think, a comeback with Heeramandi. Unka jo role hai is also very well written and it's portrayed very well as well. I feel like I've been saying this very repetitively, but all the actors have genuinely done such a good job. Fardeen Khan ka character hai who is dealing with, I think, a lot of internal conflict. He is surrounded by Nawabs जिनको अपना status हर चीज से ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट लगता है, बट दिस गाय इज समवन हु सीम्स टू हैव स्लाइटली मोर एम्पैथी देन दोज अराउंड हिम, बट दैट पुट्स हिम इन अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट पोजीशन. ये जो एक खींचातानी है इन हिज कैरेक्टर एक चीज से दूसरे चीज के बीच में, दैट हैज बीन ट्रूली वेरी वेल एक्टेड आउट बाय फरदीन. एंड दिस इज अनदर कैरेक्टर वेयर वी सी द लैंग्वेज ऑफ संजय लीला बंसाली बी ट्रांसलेटेड टू द मेल कैरेक्टर्स. There is also the fact that there are places when a bit of queer identity seeps into Heeramandi, and some of it is stuck in subtext. There are parts where it feels just not fully nuanced or not fully realized. The primarily queer character just seems like stereotypes that we've seen before. There is some sensitivity when compared to earlier, but it's still there. It's still in that box. So if they got to leave that box, it would have been better. If we actually got to maybe see more queerness seep into the story, since it's already there. अगर दहलीज पे है तो अंदर आने दो. ऐसा नहीं कि female companionship is not there in the show. It is. But I feel like we could have pushed it more. We could have gone much deeper and explored a lot more, especially since all of the characters have been written with such nuance. Dialogues लिखे काफी अच्छी तरीके से हैं. They're genuinely very well written. The one-liners are snappy, and a lot of times I was like, oh, what did they just say? But there are also times where the dialogues seem a little cheesy. They sound like things we've heard before. All of that being said, Heeramandi is still an engaging experience because of the work that each of these actors has put in. Because of the sheer work even the DOP has put in. Like, the frames are stunning. Every character is interacting with their surroundings brilliantly well. So that engagement does keep you hooked to the show. And that is why my rating for Heeramandi The Diamond Bazaar is 3 stars out of 5.